The real Matrix is not a computer simulation. It's not a movie, nor does it have anything to do with a red pill. The real Matrix is an elaborate perception management system. Perception management is a propaganda technique that involves altering the public's perception of reality to suit the objective of the white ruling class. According to white social scientists, perception is more important than reality for controlling people and for steering a society towards an implied objective, because people function based upon their perceptions rather than what's actually true. Therefore, the white ruling class have literally distorted the public perception of reality to create and sustain false perceptions within a society that aids in maintaining white social capital and white social dominance over the black population. Your perception of reality is an elaborate white deception. The distortion of reality is much more easily achieved than most people realize, because the public's perception of reality is not shaped based upon facts. The public's perception of reality is actually shaped by the narratives that are repetitively fed into the society. Therefore, all that's required for the distortion of reality is to repetitively feed distorted narratives into the society. Those who controls all of the narratives control the public's perception of reality. Because the white ruling class controls all of the narratives that are repetitively fed into the society, they therefore literally owns the perception of reality. As a means of maintaining white social dominance over black people, they systematically and repetitively feed false narratives into society that falsely exalts whites and falsely marginalizes black people. It's a racist perception management system that is designed to create and sustain false perceptions and assumptions within the society that aids in maintaining white social dominance over black people. The public at large is not currently functioning based upon facts nor reality. The public at large is actually currently functioning based upon an illusory truth effect created by this disclosed perception management system. The illusory truth effect is when people have been repeatedly fed false information and they then start functioning based upon the false information instead of the true reality. Case, point, and proof. By repetitively feeding false information into society, the public at large currently functions based upon the perception that most of the U.S. welfare recipients, the largest benefactors of affirmative action, and the group that commits most violent crimes are black people. The public at large are also currently functioning based upon their perception that most inventions that revolutionized the world were invented by Caucasians, and perceives black people as being the leeches of society that have invented much throughout history. This perception greatly aids in maintaining white social dominance and social capital over black people. However, it's an elaborate white deception created by false narratives that have been repetitively fed into our society by white propagandists. The true reality is the exact opposite from what they've misled millions to believe. The truth of the matter is that the collective self-esteems of white people have been falsely bolstered at the expense of the collective self-esteems of black people. In reality, data reveals that most welfare recipients in the U.S. are in fact Caucasians. Studies also reveal that the largest benefactors of affirmative action are white women. Therefore, by extension, the white population has benefited most from affirmative action. And FBI data reveals that most violent crimes in the U.S. are in fact committed by Caucasians. Most people know that Caucasians makes up the majority of mass shooters, serial killers, and are the largest committers of hate crimes. But most are unaware of the fact that FBI data reveals that every year in the U.S., most violent crimes, including homicide and violent sexual crimes, are in fact committed by Caucasians. Every year, more whites are killed by whites in the U.S. Most cops in the U.S. have been killed by white men. Caucasians are also more likely than any other racial group to kill a parent and are more likely than any other group to kill a loved one for financial gain. As I've stated earlier, the white society has also manipulated millions to perceive black people as being the leeches of society that haven't invented much throughout history. However, that's also an elaborate illusion. The truth is the exact opposite. In spite of cultural traumas wrought by the injustices of white racism and slavery, most inventions that have revolutionized the world were either in fact invented by black people or were directly inspired by early inventions by black people. Without black people, we wouldn't have airplanes. The first airplane was built, patented, and flown by a black man 3 years before the Wright brothers patterned theirs. Without black people, we wouldn't have automobiles. We wouldn't have working light bulbs. There would exist no cell phones, no internet. We wouldn't have the cameras and microphones on our cell phones. We wouldn't have the accurate weather forecasting system. We wouldn't have the cataract laser removal scope. There would be no emails, no GPS, no hearing aids, no touch-tone phones, no caller ID, no home surveillance security systems, no home game cartridge, no motorized vehicles, no steam engines, no traffic lights, no elevators, therefore no skyscrapers, no air conditioning, no modern color PC, no 3D movies, no central heating, no refrigerators, no helicopters, no washing machines, no lawnmowers, no dryers, no refrigerated trucks, no blood banks, no fiber optics, no nanotechnology, no female sanitary pads, no bathroom tissue holders, no pencil sharpeners, etc., etc. Black people have in fact enriched nearly every aspect of the lives of every person on this planet. Your perception of reality is an elaborate white deception. Think of it this way. Perception acts as the lens through which we view reality. The problem is that the lens through which we perceive reality has been distorted and warped by the white controllers of information that shapes our perception of reality. They do so because it is the racist, narcissistic people they are. It is the way they've always been, and it's the only way they know how to be. We always talk about emancipating our minds from white mental slavery. To do so, you have to start studying the social sciences that the white society deploys for maintaining their social dominance over black people. Those black people who don't research facts for themselves, who don't study social science, are the ones that remains mentally enslaved by the white society. If you don't start researching facts for yourself, if you don't start learning social science, you will go from your cradle to your grave, having lived your entire life and your mind was never your own. You live and die being mentally enslaved by the white society. They've created an elaborate prison for our minds through their monopoly over the media contents we see and the narratives that we hear. Those of us who tell you the truth are trying to free you from a mental prison that you don't even know you're trapped within. Welcome to the real world. Now you know what the real matrix is.